I guess first of all, congratulations on this. It's a fantastic project. Really enjoyed watching this. Uh, Something I thought that was very unique to this project was that you made this character feel like he had no control over his life on the internet. How do you begin to do that? Because we all feel so safe because of the anonymity that we have on the internet.
Like the one of the things I really wanted to do with this is one of the things that I could see was like the sort of parallels between like online trolling and like a haunting, and that your home is your sanctuary, it's your safe place. It's like and if you're being haunted, there's a ghost. But even if you're being trolled as well, like you're in the house, and you're getting thing buzzing in your pocket, you're getting pings on your screen, and it's that sort of like like that kind of pressure that I wanted to sort of have applied onto him. And because he's such an online personality, the struggles that must be to sort of contend with that sort of online abuse, and how you sort of like just deflect it. So yeah.
Creating a character that's both like very haunting online, and yet it's when we finally get the reveal of him in real life, or what the creature is, it's very jarring. You created a good sense of suspense, of tension, of terror. What were the talks about how this character was going to look? The ghost, I guess it would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, like we just wanted to have this idea of this kid that's been stuck in a coma, but it's got like sort of like telekinetic powers, or like and having that sort of playing into his psychosis. Because one of the things I really wanted to do with the film, which was I wanted to sort of play it in like, did this actually happen, or was it all in his head? Like, did he make this up? Not make this all up, but like, is he having a mental breakdown? Like, because the real story, like, or the real question everybody always asks on Twitter is, did this happen, or did they make it all up? And I wanted that to sort of play out through the audience, and sort of having this idea of having this like weird, like, as I say, sort of um monster that either like he's built up in his head, or like he's sort of like created, or like the idea of something that survived, like something that's survived in a coma all this time. Do like, sort of, as I say, and playing and blurring between the lines of sort of like dream and reality, and those kind of things.
Definitely. I grew up in the 90s when the internet was, popping up, and I knew a lot of people like Dear David that got so fascinated with the internet that it's all they would do. What kind of research did you do in order to get that feeling?
Oh, like I love this story, like, and I love the internet. Like, it's like it also terrifies me, like, because it's so vast, and there's so many things in so many places, and in the darkest of places, like, you find humor as well. Like, it's the weirdest the weirdest place. So yeah, like, obviously, like, I've been a child of the internet. I grew up with it as well. So it's yeah, it was just something I kind of not also already knew, but was always part of like the intention behind it.
Awesome. And like you talked about, there's a bit of humor in this. It's very fascinating how you don't quite get the terror right after the humor. There's a pace to it that's very unique to this movie, I believe. How do you begin to build that pace? Was this something that was in the script, or is it something that you talked about with the writers, and the actors to get this pacing down to the way it came?
I think that'll come down to a cutting aspect as well. The I like humor. And because Adam Ellis is a very funny character in real life, he's very sarcastic. He's and I wanted to sort of like bring that in. And because he is so sarcastic, and he's a bit of a cynic as well, like, there's a chance that he could come across like a little bit of a dick. That you kind of want to sort of like try and lean into that humor a little bit more. It may sort of make him that, like, that, just that little bit more likable. As well as like just the fun of horror. Like, I love horror. Like, there's like there's like gross out moments, and instead of being like, I laugh. Like it just sort of picks me up. And playing in that sort of like also like when you're gonna get nervous and you have that nervous laughter, like so with horror and laughter or like those kind of fears or those sort of like those emotions, laughter always sort of reoccurs for me. So I like as a sort of playing that in there, as I say, to give a little bit of break in the tension. And yeah, so it's something that I just love doing.
Definitely. So you took on two genres that are like probably the most difficult to do, which is, comedy and horror. How did that task feel for you? Were you kind of pressured? Did you feel the pressure of getting that scare at a certain point, getting that laughter at a certain point? Was there any, obstacles that came in the way because of that?
No, like I mean, obviously, like as I say, the cut dictates a lot of that as well. But like just when we were on set, just like again, I like comedy. I just think it just sort of helps break things up. And I had a really funny cast. Justin Long is like the funniest guy I've ever met in my life, and like just watching him run with Bryce was just a lot of fun. Like, but in particular, and I think Augie Augustus was kind of like uh really loving having like a lot of these sort of like comedy actors I'm around, like Sarah Swire, Andrea Bang, Trisha Black, Justin Long. Like they really brought like a real fun side out in him as well. Because for the first 2 weeks, like we shot the end first. Like we had to shoot the end first because we had to set fire to that apartment and then rebuild it as the downstairs apartment. So it was so we shot the ending first. So for 2 weeks, like Augie just spent like the whole time crying and like screaming. Like that was all he was doing, like all on his own because there's nobody else there. It's just him and this, kid and two cats, so there's no other actors to sort of play with. So when they kind of come in, like so Sarah Swire, who plays uh, Miss Nola, like the two of them, there is a cut of that scene that is just too funny. It just makes a mockery of everything, but it's so funny. And it was just as I say that like that bounce. And I think, he really sort of like got excited about working with actors, but the fact that it was the comedy side of things, after 2 weeks of crying and screaming, really lifted the spirits and helped add to the sort of the comedy to it.
Definitely. And about your cast, like your cast was incredible. Your actor was menacing. He is the one that inspired a lot of this fear. And then your veteran cast, they were incredible too. How thrilled were you with this casting?
Oh, it was amazing. Like Cameron, the little boy, was like the sweetest kid, the sweetest and the nicest kid, and he worked so hard, and he just loves film as well, so he was just like engrossed with everything. And he was a real trooper. But the sort of adult cast, like I've always wanted to work with Andrea Bang. I don't know how many like sort of when you're a director, you make like lookbooks for like projects, and how many times I've got Andrea Bang in like in different roles. So that was an absolute dream. I grew up with Justin Long. I grew up watching Justin Long and everything. So that was brilliant. And again, Augie was just like my rock. Like he was just so much fun to work with. He's in literally every scene, and he put his heart and soul into this project. So I owe a lot of that to him. And Trisha Black, who I think is an absolute find, who plays Norris, like she's so funny, like so funny. And just loved every minute with them all. Yeah.
Congratulations on this. Once again, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fantastic. So thank you very much for your time.
No, thanks, dude.